You want to tell them exactly who owns this thing. Guess what? They're going to look it up too. They're going to run the report at corporate registry.
I can see the whole wide world with these two eyes, and I can be whoever I want to be, 'cause it's my life.
Hi, thanks for joining us for another episode of Ask Spurrell CPA. Today we're talking about the business plan company overview section. And I have Cole here with me. So Cole, how you're looking forward to some of the content that's coming out on YouTube? You were helping us shoot it yesterday.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting stuff coming up.
Yeah. So what was your favorite part?
Probably throwing the cash down on the counter.
You're gonna have to watch the YouTube channel if you want to find out what he's talking about. So the quote that we have here today, dealing with business plan company overview section, is Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of the United States, and it says, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Benjamin Franklin, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. The statistic that we're going to throw out here for you is Palo Alto, the software manufacturer. They surveyed business owners regarding business planning. Now, what they found is business owners who completed a plan were 50% more likely to grow their business. So just by completing a plan, you are 50% more likely to grow your business. And the story that we have here is an Edmonton CPA firm is, business owners who are looking for financing, they miss putting very basic items in their business plan that the bank would need to know to qualify for the loan. And the best case scenario is this missing information is just going to delay the process because people are having to go back and forth getting this basic information. But the worst case scenario is they fail to put basic information in, and they're going to deny them for financing altogether just because they didn't put the information in. So Colt, what are the questions that you think these business owners need to be asking an Edmonton CPA firm to put the right information in their company overview section of their business plan?
At a high level, what is the company overview section?
So the company overview section at a high level is just who you are, who owns this thing, who's involved, who are the advisors, really basic information that a lot of business owners would just take for granted because they know who the business is, what it's called, who owns this thing, who the advisors they're dealing with. But you got to remember, this business plan is for an external user who knows nothing about you. So we're just breaking down the really basic who, what, where of the business.
Is it important enough to put directly after the executive summary?
Yeah, we do. We put that executive summary first. These are the first things that you need to know about the business. The second thing is just that basic company overview section. We're going to put that right number 2 because we know the bank wants to see those things. We stick it at the end. They don't read it and they call us and ask, did you put it in there? So we put it, right in there. That company overview section, who, what, where of the business. We put it number 2 in our business plans.
Should you put both the legal name and operating name to avoid confusion?
Yeah, you always have, not always, but sometimes the business has one legal name and one operating name. It might be a numbered company and they're operating as something different, or they have one operating name, but you look at them online, they're branded something completely different. Put them both on there. The bank doesn't know who you are at all, and they're just going to say, this guy doesn't exist, this company doesn't exist. When it's branded completely different, it's a really easy to find brand locally. So put them on there, make it as simple as possible, because you yourself will probably go back and forth in the terminology. You use the legal name sometimes, you use the operating name other times, and you want to be able to have a clear and concise conversation with a banker and have the people on the back end of the bank who you don't get to talk to understand what's going on just as easily.
Will the bank ever lend funds without knowing exactly who owns what percent of the corp?
Yeah, it's going to be the first question, who owns this thing? You want to tell them exactly who owns this thing. Guess what? They're going to look it up too. They're going to run the report at corporate registries, and they'll fire back if they say, hey, who owns this thing isn't consistent with what's on at corporate registries. Now, keep in mind that corporate registries is going to have the voting shares, not the non-voting shares. So there are reasons why the information you would supply might be different. But the bank is going to want to know, who owns the corporation that they're lending the money to. So don't let that slow down your application. Put it right in there.
Does having basic info like the address, phone, email, and web address help?
Yeah, and people, sometimes they don't think about this. It's like, oh, we're going to put the address for the business. You have to remember that it's not always the person that you're familiar with at the bank that is going to check this thing out. They're going to search, the address. Where is this thing going? Let's make sure they can get that on the application. Who's the phone number that they can reach out to? Or what's the email that they can reach out to? Let's make the communication back and forth as smooth as possible. Let's just put that in the plan. And then that web address. Remember, they're going to do an online search of you on the back end of the bank, and it's going to be from someone who's not familiar, who's not your banker. So remember, you're not just communicating with your banker who's familiar with you. You're also communicating with another banker, an underwriter who you don't get to talk to. And you want to put as much information in that report as possible.
Will the bank want to know if you have an accountant in place?
Yeah, a lot of times the bank will look at having an accountant, having a CPA or chartered professional accountant as a risk mitigation factor. They're worried, are they going to get paid back? Is this business plan realistic, or is it just something someone drew up on a napkin because they want a couple $100,000 lent to them? So they'll want to know that there's a professionally designated accountant. That's going to increase your chances of getting a business loan. So if you have an accountant in place, you're paying this accounting bill, put that in the plan. And better yet, have a CPA who's actually helping you assemble that plan. They won't forget that. So if you have an accountant, you want to put that in the company overview section. This is the corporate accountant.
Will the bank often need particulars of your lawyer to complete the funding?
Yeah, so a lot of times there is documents that are going to have to get drawn up, and you can't use the bank's lawyer. You're going to have to get your own lawyer to actually sign off, and they're going to be legal documents, and there's going to be security on property and security on equipment that's going to have to be registered, and personal guarantees that are going to have to be signed on. You're going to need a lawyer to actually execute those documents. So if you have a lawyer, put them on the document, and then the bank can get the information flowing out to the right person in a timely fashion. Because often when you're trying to get financing, time is of the essence. We're trying to get the loan yesterday because the property is supposed to close tomorrow, or they need a piece of equipment and the old piece of equipment is broken. They need the new piece of equipment now. So if a lot of the transactions, they're going to have to go through a lawyer. Sometimes the bank will disperse the funds to the lawyer's trust account, and then the lawyer will disperse the funds from the trust account to the person that you're actually buying it from, the contractor or the supplier of the equipment. So oftentimes there's going to be a lawyer involved, so put the contact information for your lawyer right on the business plan to make the thing go quicker and smoother.
If you're using investments as a security, should you list the advisor?
Yeah, so that's sometimes, you might have investments and they're not with the bank, or they're with a different arm of the bank. They're with the wealth management arm of the bank. Make it really easy for the banker to verify those investments are in place. You got to name and info of your advisor, and if they need an up-to-date statement, they can get it, straight from the investment advisor themselves. So oftentimes the security, the investments that you have are a big portion of the security that the bank's considering when they decide if you're a good risk. So put that advisor on there. I always recommend it.
Does the bank often verify general liability insurance before funding?
I would say it's almost all the time. So it's not all the time, but it's not like this is 10 or 20% of the time they verify liability. Lots of times they want to see that certificate of liability insurance. So if you have an insurance advisor, who do you get your insurance from? Show them that this is in place right now, or else you're going to have that the loan can go through that unnecessary discussion saying, hey, we're going to have this sort of insurance, and they're going to send you a long-winded email, and that's your banker's efforts for the day is telling you that. But you already got this thing, and you got this arranged already. You have your $2 million or $5 million of general liability, and you got coverage on the commercial vehicles already, and maybe you have errors and emissions insurance as well. So if you have that commercial business insurance agent, let's put them on the business plan as well, and do everything we can to move this thing forward as quickly as possible.
Is life and disability often a covenant or requirement of getting a loan?
Yeah, it's usually covenant, requirement, same thing. It's usually both things, and it's usually required. The bank wants to know if you're the principal in the business. You get sick, what are their chances of still getting paid back? And usually their way to mitigate that risk is they're going to say you have a certain amount of disability coverage. and life coverage for the same reasons. And a lot of people think of insurance, they always think life insurance. Statistically, most people just don't drop dead, especially the starting the business type age. Although it can happen, the bank will ask for life insurance. They will also generally ask for disability insurance, which statistically is probably more relevant both for the bank and the business owner, because if something does happen to you, how are you going to pay back this loan, which you're likely personally guaranteed on? You don't want to be losing your house or losing savings just because you didn't get the disability policy. And not only that, the bank probably won't even give you the loan in the first place if you don't have the disability policy in place. They'll send you a list of covenants. These are the things that you have to do on an ongoing basis as a condition of us giving you the money, and often having a set monthly disability balance in the events that you become disabled, or a set lifetime life insurance payout in the event that you did pass away, is going to be a component of getting that loan. So let's do all of the things that we can to maximize our chances of getting the loan, and maximizing our chances of getting the loan in the quickest route possible. Because as we know, business financing, it's slower than personal financing, and that's usually what people are not accustomed to. Their first deal is, I got my mortgage in a week. Why is this going to take 4 months? And it's like, well, let's put everything we need to do in the plan to minimize that time. Because it is a long road. There's more analysis that's done on the bank end, and there's only so many business underwriters who look at these things, as opposed to how many people that they have that can process residential mortgages. They just have a larger capacity to process the deals. So I think that's what we have here today on the business plan company overview section. As always, we look forward to reading your comments below. We will respond back and use your feedback to create future videos. And as always, please hit the like and subscribe button so we can continue to deliver you tips on how to beat the odds of business.